Boomers, this kind of feels like I am the bearer of bad news. Sorry to say. But there was an article today in the New York Times that says that message from your doctor, it may have been drafted by AI. So just when you think, you have these portals where patients can communicate with their doctors and their nurses, you go on there. Hundreds of thousands of patients message their doctors every day on platforms called MyChart. And that they talk about their symptoms, they talk about their worries and their health concerns, and they trust that a human doctor is carefully responding to their needs. So, when I worked at one of the hospitals in the area, we used Epic to chart on a patient, and then from there, Epic created something called MyChart, which is what I use now to communicate with my doctor, who apparently doesn't have any communication with me at all. Now, this is especially concerning to people my age. We don't like AI. Now, I know I use it occasionally for different ways of creating content, but we don't like AI. And to think that maybe our doctors are using AI to answer our questions may actually be on the fringe of malpractice, in my opinion. So, these responses aren't entirely written by doctors, and many patients are unaware that artificial intelligence is drafting their doctor's replies. Over 15,000 doctors at more than 150 health systems are using AI tools like Epic's MyChart feature. It's called In-Basket Art. This feature generates responses using advanced AI built on GPT-4 technology aimed at helping physicians manage the overload of patient messages. The tool pulls data from patient records, including past messages and medications, to draft replies that are then reviewed and approved by doctors. This process is intended to save time and reduce burnout in overworked healthcare professionals. But not everyone is convinced. Some experts worry that AI may not always get it right. I'm sure it doesn't, posing potential risks to patient care. Quote, the promise was supposed to save time, as I just mentioned, so doctors could spend more time with their patients. But instead, we're seeing AI being used to save time talking to patients through automated messages. During the pandemic, MyChart became a vital link between patients and their doctors, but it also overwhelmed already burdened healthcare professionals. Now, even as in-person care has resumed, patient messages haven't slowed down, contributing to widespread physician burnout. Now, of course, we can imagine how the pandemic has affected patients, our patients like you and like me. It had created isolation, agoraphobia. People who are already a little introverted became even more introverted. So this is probably why people are becoming a little bit more neurotic about their health care. So early studies show that AI has helped to reduce cognitive load on doctors. It hasn't necessarily saved them much time, and concerns remain about the accuracy of these AI-generated replies. Dr. Eric Poon, Poon, Chief Health Information Officer at Duke University, says AI-generated messages are moderate in quality, which keeps doctors alert But the risk remains that if the technology improves, clinicians might start to let their guard down, and that's where the mistakes can slip through. And despite the risks, many healthcare systems have not disclosed the use of AI to their patients. Some fear that being transparent would undermine the trust that patients place on their doctors, even though physicians are reviewing the responses before sending them. The ethical debate about this is intense. Should patients be told when AI is involved in their care? By the way, please let me know what you think in the comments below. Some bioethicists argue that transparency is key to maintaining trust in the doctor-patient relationship. As a content creator myself, it is recommended that I tell you when I use AI-generated copy. Daniel Shift, co-director of Governance and Responsible AI Lab at Purdue University, says that even if AI is flawless, which it is not, do we really want to automate one of the few remaining ways that patients and doctors directly communicate? It's a question of humanity, not just efficiency. So, as AI becomes much more integrated into healthcare, we must balance its potential benefits with the need for transparency, trust, and maintaining the human connection that lies at the heart of patient care. And they do tell us certain problems that have arisen. For instance, one patient used this system to ask about their vaccines, and the AI was completely incomplete about the answer. And there's a lot of instances where false information is given to the patient, and they understandably think that the doctor is giving them these ideas and these results, and that they actually think they're communicating with their doctor. Oh my goodness. There's been a growing use of AI in healthcare, and as technology evolves, so too must the understanding of how it affects the relationships we most value, those between doctors and their patients. So when we started to use a computer system in one of the hospitals I worked at, it was called iProb, and it was specifically for OBGYN nurses and doctors for their patients who came to deliver babies. And often, so I don't know why the hospital bought this particular system, but the problem with it is that there was no no way to really communicate with anybody as to what to do when suddenly there would be an alert that says, send your patient directly to the operating room for a cesarean section. And this would pop up. We delete it and keep going on. We delete it and keep going on until it became an issue with the OBGYNs, doctors, who decided that this was dangerous, because if the patient did need a C-section and we didn't comply with what this computer system was telling us, everybody would be liable probably and would have to go to a court. These court cases, we'd have to go to court and testify about the fact that iProb was wrong. And okay, you know what I mean? It was terrible. One day I was sitting by my creek and I was sunbathing, and I got a call from one of my nurse colleagues saying, iProb is no more. And we had a great celebration. It was wonderful. But then we replaced it with this system called Epic, which is what this video is about, Epic. And Epic has taken over the healthcare systems mostly around our area. when my last year at the hospital I worked at, we had a different system which was much worse. It was terrible. So iProb was no more, but Epic was a little easier to navigate. But now I see that we really shouldn't be using AI to communicate with anybody. We need to try to keep our vision focused on what our patients, on what our customers want, what do they want, and how can I serve. And that is basically at the heart of all good business models. It is at the heart of patient-doctor relationships and at the heart of patient-nurse relationships. And this can really blow up. I think that it's important to realize that some patients may not be bothered by this, but I would say the elderly patients will be bothered by it because we do not trust AI. Overall, we do not trust it, especially when your voice can be copied without your consent, and people can use your persona in ways that you may not like and ruin your reputation, especially online reputation. So anyway, there's going to be a video that shows up right here. Love to all.